Hello everyone, this is Rebecca from Papeterie de Choix and welcome to Thematic Thursday. I have a question. Have you ever made anything so super simple that you don't want to share it because it's so easily made? Well, that's how this project started out. I started out with some stamps, modern stamps from, well, modern, but they're from maybe in the early 2000s, so they're about 20-ish years old, I believe, from what I could make out of the little packets they came in. But anyway, it's stamps from Canada that I bought in a big envelope full of stamps several months ago. And so I thought I would take some of them out and just make some fake stamps that looked like, I'd ripped them off the envelope. And I made a dozen, I think is here. Or 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, yeah. And I thought, this is so simple and so, yeah, there's no way I can share this. And while I was contemplating it being way too easy and I needed to come up with another project, I got to thinking about my drawer where I keep all of my small stuff and thinking I need to organize that thing because it's driving me crazy. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I have this drawer in my metal cabinet that I call Miscellaneous Smalls, and it's where I've cut ephemera out of, these are mostly out of 6x6s to use in projects, already cut up, and then a few pictures out of old picture frames that I find at the thrift store, and I'll take, I'll buy the frame for 50 cents, take the picture out, redonate the picture frame, and I got me a picture, and I got a couple of those. I was gifted some of the little Tim Holtz people. This was in a magazine I found just the other day, an old magazine, a page rather. Anyway, I got a handful of those, and there was a lot more in here, so I was thinking, how can I organize this and do something with these at the same time, because I don't want to just pile these in here. So, I had a brainstorm. So, I come up with this thing. And this is one sheet of 12 by 12 paper. It's the thin, like the paper thin, like copy paper thin almost, scrapbook paper that's single-sided. So, this has little pockets that this ephemera can go into, like so. And I got it, the way I have it folded, they're at different depths. And so, flip it over, and you've got the same thing on the other side. So, and I thought, you know what? I think I like that idea. So, it took me 1, 2, 3, 4 more tries to figure out the measurements that I wanted. So, obviously I haven't glued this one down yet, and you can see a bunch of the marks in it. I made this one first. I made no, I take that back. I made this one first. This is actually the very first one I made. This one's second. And then this one, and then this one. And this is the size that I ended up with to make for myself. And so between last night and this morning, I made 6 of them that I tied off into a little booklet, like so. I used some scrapbook paper from a paper pack from Hobby Lobby, just some pages that I probably wouldn't use. I got a string closure that's still loose because I'm not going to tie it until I get some ephemera in here. But I made 6 pages. So this is what we're going to do today. So what you will need is a piece of 12 by 12 paper that is the thinnest paper because it will be layered quite a bit. So you need the thinnest paper possible, and a scoreboard, glue, a hole punch if you want to make pages. So right offhand I can't remember anything else, but I do have a surprise at the end of the video. So let me get my materials together up here, and then we'll get started on this actually simple project that for me I think is going to work out real good. So I will be right back. I realize that my scoreboard don't fit on the whole screen, so just in case you can't see the score marks that I make, or don't hear when I call them out, I'll be putting them on the screen when it's time to do them. So to make this, you'll need a scoring tool, and you can use this as a bone folder or use a regular bone folder, whichever you have. So we're going to score at 1 3/4, and I tend to score twice because sometimes the paper just don't want to fold then afterwards where you want to go. Okay, so 1 3/4 and then 3 1/4. And another thing is, because you're scoring all the way across, the paper will bubble just a little bit, so I'm just putting my hand right behind where I'm going to score each time, just to help it stay as flat as possible. So the next one is 5 1/2. See what I mean? And most of these little quirks, when it does a little funny, you can straighten them up at the end, but it's better to be as accurate as possible to begin with, I think. And then 6 3/4. Then 8 3/4. And 10. Then turn your paper counterclockwise so that the left side is now at the bottom. Put your hands under it and just press that into a mountain. Fold the next one, press up. The next fold it over, just give it a little bit of a press down, do the next one and keep going till you get to the top. And this is what you should be left with. Now, don't put your scoreboard away, you got one more score to make. Now, once I've flattened it with my hands, I take this little tool, but I don't go all the way across because there's too much room for it to, kind of roam around a little bit. So I am bone folding it in short sections, so that helps keep the folds where they're supposed to be, and not going askew. So once you get that, I'm going to put it back up all the way across, and you want to score it again at 6 inches. Now, this here is just one layer, and there's a little tiny bit here that's one layer, but everything in between is 2 to 4 layers of paper. So don't score so hard that you tear the paper, but give it a good extra push in there just to get down through all of those folds. Then the next thing I do, and hopefully I can show it here, let me do it this way maybe. I'll bring this edge of the scoreboard to the edge of my table. Let me do it this way. I believe you can. So pretend this side is the edge of my table. I would bring it down and just press it slightly against that corner. And obviously I'll be using 2 hands. Just enough to sort of get it going. And then you want to bring it all over and line everything up. The main thing is to get your 2 corners even. And if you've, you know, sometimes the paper has a mind of its own. I'm sure you know that already. Sometimes it won't line up exactly just because maybe the paper wasn't quite 12 by 12, or, you know, a million other things that it could be. But the next thing is just line it up as best you can, and if you need to pull, what I do is I just pull this one, or whichever side, and just in there, just give it a little bit of a new crease. And you can look right here and see where the discrepancy is. So right here is my problem. Now I've had some of these that lined up perfect, didn't give me a problem whatsoever, but the one that'll be on camera, that will be the one that'll mess up, you know, because that's Murphy's Law and all that. So what I'm going to do is just pull that up that way just a little bit, get it lined up as best I can, like so. Press out that to that fold or to the crease. Come in and crease that down really good on all 3 sides. Then I'm going to take my glue, and at first I'm just going to do a line all the way across here. Lay this back down, get everything lined up as much as possible. Well, there we go, that's a little better. Yeah, that didn't turn out too bad. So then, while that's getting glued into place, then you just come back with your glue, glue down each one of those little pockets through there, like so. Turn it over, do the same thing on this side. Okay, now you know I press everything with the iron, so I'm going to go press this with the iron. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to move my scoreboard because I don't need that anymore. So now that you've got the ends sealed so that it's not coming up anymore, you want to go back in and glue the parts that at the top and the bottom, and anything on the side that either popped loose or didn't get the glue in the first place. And so you just want to come in and put a bead of glue kind of near the top, but I like to go in roughly 1/4 of an inch, and that way if I need to do any trimming just to even things up, then there's still enough glue in there to catch it without having to re-glue it. And this bottom right here is a little bit tricky because you've got 4 layers of paper in there, and that little bitty bottom just needs to seal. So I'll hit this with the iron. Okay, now the next thing that I do, now because this is so thick through here, it won't run through a trimmer, it won't run through a guillotine because I've tried both. So if I have any white showing, I just come in and do just a little bitty narrow trim and just get rid of that white. Now, because I'm using these for myself just as storage and not part of a journal or anything like that, you definitely don't need to ink or anything, and I'm not inking mine. But if you wanted to make a pocket like this for a journal, then of course you could ink. And it doesn't have to be this long either, this wide. You could fold your paper or cut your paper lengthwise and make a little small one like so. Or if you have an offcut of 12 by 12, you could make, you know, a smaller version of this. So now what I did to because I wanted to make a booklet out of mine, I just measured 1 inch in from either side, and used my hole punch and just punched out a couple of holes. And that's basically it. Now, this is done, but what I want to do is get rid of those punchy things. Now, what I would like to do is empty these, because these 4 and the other one that I've not glued together yet, I'll finish yet, and then the one that we just made, what did I do with it? And this one, I'll put in the giveaway. But what I want to do first is take my ephemera out and put in here. Now this one, 1, 2, 3, no, that's right. I started to say this one I ended up with more pockets, but I didn't. This one is taller, and if you want to change the ratio of your measurements to get a taller pocket, you can absolutely do that. The only thing is the allow for the depth of your pocket in there. I did have a piece of paper right here. These pockets on the measurements that I just gave you, the bottom pocket is 1.5 inches deep, and the 2 other pockets, you can't see that now, both of these are 1.25 inches deep, so they're quite deep. You know, that's quite good if you were putting a tag or something in. But basically, these are just to hold small ephemera, so that it's easier to pick them out whenever you want to use them. And then the other thing that, of course, one idea sparks another idea. It's either breeding like rabbits as far as ideas go, or it's the metamorphosis of a butterfly, in the sense that you have one thing and it turns into another thing. So I don't know which this is, but I'm really liking the concept so far. And this should help take care of some of my storage over there in that drawer, so that it's not a jumbled up mess and I can actually see what I've got. And I also used papers that, I think I might have said this already, I also used papers that I probably wouldn't use anyway, so that's another plus. Let me go back over here and get these little ones. Put that there. So yeah, I'm really liking this, and I'll finish filling the rest of these up, but all of this, minus 3 pieces, 2 of them the same size as this one, and one of them if I can get a hold of it now. One of them about the size of that one. Minus those 3, this is a whole 12 by 12 sheet of these little labels that I cut up. So it'll hold quite a bit. So now that you see, what it can be used for, it can also, be incorporated into a journal. With just a little bit of manipulation here at the spine part of it. Now, let me show you the other thing. So, I had this other paper, and I just took another 12 by 12 sheet, and I cut it into 3 4-inch strips, because I thought, well, if this will make a little thing for ephemera, as a tool for our working, as opposed to something put in a journal, then it could be utilized in a journal. So here's what I made. It's the same exact folds. I did all the scoring, then cut it. Folded this up, so this started out being 4 inches wide, and then never how tall it was. I think it's maybe like 4 1/4-ish. So now I've got a pocket here that's 1.5 inches, a pocket here that's 1.25 inches, and a pocket here that's 1.25 inches. And what I did was I scored a 1/4 inch on either side and folded it in, and then scored the bottom, folded it up, and mitered the corners. Folded this top edge down just slightly, so that to give it some strength. And what you could do is use the back of my little notepad. This is your page, or a bigger pocket, or whatever that you want, and you'd put glue down each side and across the bottom, like so, and you would glue it down so that you would have then the full width of your pocket on here, and then you would have a pocket on the behind the whole thing, plus the 3 little pockets here. That's wide enough to hold a whole bunch of little ephemera. And again, though, because of the thicknesses, the other thing I did was I glued all of these down so that it was smooth, so that it won't ruffle back up. But the trick is it has to be thin paper, otherwise these thicknesses it won't work. It just wouldn't work with either project. But it's a good way to use up single-sided 12x12s that you don't have any other real use for, and just make a little ephemera holders for anything small that you have. And if you feel like you want a booklet, then just make a few, tie string. This was a piece of cloth, and I'll tighten it up when I've got it full because it'll need to expand, and then I'll tie it, and I might just hang it up. I got all kinds of little hooks around my craft room, and just hang it up and have it close by, and then I can use that drawer for something else. I need the real estate. All of us crafters need as much real estate as possible. So, with that, I will say that Thematic Thursdays project is done with just what started out as a non-event project actually turned into something that is definitely going to work for me as far as storage. So, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon.